Okay, hola, one and all. Very special welcome back to Soul Mechanics. Please step into my office, make yourselves as comfortable as is possible. My partner Sweetie Cheeks and I very deeply hope that you enjoyed our attacking of Greta Thunberg's entity spectacular extravaganza. You might have made note, some of you, that we did in fact not really attack Greta Thunberg at all. In fact, the final verdict on Madame Thunberg is that she is effectively, it would seem, verified operative, and she is free to go on about her business. We will make no attempts at putting the brakes on Madame Thunberg as yet. However, the criticisms as to whether or not she's, puppeteered in some way by some entity or another, the Rothschilds or some secret organization or just politics in general, whatever side she happens to be on. I mean, she is pretty heavily Swedish, so I'm not sure that she's like deeply embedded into American political controversies, but time will tell. We shall see. However, she made various statements and put forth several cues and whatnot, prompts that did in fact confirm her as an operative of the initiative. So, I mean, really, from my perspective, what I'm seeing here is that if she is in fact involved with some kind of a shady organization that's puppeteering her, for the most part, what's happening there is that we have an operative whom has, for all intents and purposes, infiltrated whatever organization is behind that. So, I mean, this is a good thing all around, no matter what. And the thing of it is that most of you watching probably still don't even think of yourselves as being a part of this, an operative of this initiative. Most people all over the world who are, in fact, an operative of the initiative have no idea, would probably scoff at the term. But that is, in fact, what's happening. And whether you like it or not, you're a part of this. You're acting towards its benefit. We're all fighting for this purpose in our everyday actions, the way that we behave, the way we treat people, the way we communicate, the things that we do, the changes we make, the values we put in play, and the values that we eliminate from play. We're making positive changes. We are putting the puzzle pieces together and causing for the dominoes to fall in just such a way. Some of us here who are directors, who are aware enough to see this happening and to put directions in play, can see this playing out like an epic chess game. And in fact, yes, the pieces are falling into place, the things are happening just as we need for them to, and whether Greta Thunberg thinks of herself as being that or not, whether she's swayed or dissuaded in some way or another by some secretive, clandestine, shithead organization, the bad guys, as it were, she's still going to be acting toward the benefit of this. So whether she likes it or not, even if she had decided, which again, I've stated so many times, nobody considers themselves to be evil. There are no people out there who are thinking, yeah, we're the villains. That's not happening. That's a fantasy. But even if she were at some point to be like, I'm a villain, I'm going to join the bad guys, chances are she's still going to do things that will affect a positive change for our benefit. So, I mean, ultimately, that's the overall verdict on Thunberg herself. However, and I know this is the beating the dead horse, Cheeks would say, you guys are sick and tired of this, you don't want any more, but I always like to give my little follow-up conclusory video. I like to give my final verdict on these things that we did, and honestly, I don't really like that. I would really much rather have it be Megan and I do it together, but the thing is that I catch all the things that we missed, and I like to put it together in the final clip, or usually make up for mistakes that I might have made. But in this case, it's just a few things that we missed that I wanted to cover before we put this whole thing to bed. Firstly, when I made note of Donald Trump and that the situation as regards Donald Trump being our president, personally, I feel, and many operatives have told me the same thing, that they feel the same way, that it's hypothesized, at least, that what's happening there with Donald Trump having become president, the presidency in and of itself, the decision we were left with, everything that's come of it, it's like it's bringing to the forefront our most pressing issues. It's elucidating the values in play that are damaging or broken. Like it's really screaming out to the world, look at how fucking stupid we are. Look at how crazy we are. Look at what we're doing. People, wake up, pay attention. People are making note of it. They're seeing this. Honestly, whether you support Trump or not, if you don't feel embarrassed by the man, I don't know what to tell you. That says a lot about your personality. Low bar. I am humiliated by this man being our president. I don't give a shit if he were successful in whatever policies he wanted to put in play that would have been, making America great again. Honestly, all I know about his policies or his directives is that he wants to effectively create a monument to his own vanity that is, in effect, an enormous value putting into play the concept of division, that he wants to build a testament to division in his own honor to prize his own ego. So, I mean, that's about as much as I can say about it. The dude wants to build a wall, divide people. Like, that's moving in the other direction. But he wants to make America great again. We mentioned that. And I said that, it seems like a good idea because we'd be getting back to when we were doing better. And Megan made note that, in fact, we're doing better in so many other ways. The ways in which I'm seeing it that we were doing better before that we'd like to get back to, that I had anticipated Trump might actually produce effective results in this context, is where it comes to jobs, work, the work arena, the employment issues that we have. But I've seen we haven't seen that get any better. I haven't seen improvement in that area. I still have trouble getting and holding a job. And of course you can say that's just because I'm an asshole, I have problems, whatever, but I'm not the only one by a long, long stretch. Many, many people are out of work, able-bodied, willing, participant and loyal, trustworthy, honest, genuine people who are shit out of luck because that's just the state of affairs as it stands, and Trump didn't do a damn thing to fix that. So, I mean, that's speaking generally to our efficiency, really, I suppose you could say. But, I was hoping that would be a return to when we had a better employment scenario. That's what I was speaking of. But she's absolutely correct in the fact that most everything else is, the crime rates have dropped for the most part in most areas. Many of the statistics are down as regards racism, sexism, whatever isms we have in play, things are down. It's just people, the SJW community, as it were, is just blowing these things out of proportion, making it seem like we have problems that we don't, for the sake of distracting us. They themselves, I don't believe, are doing this for the sake of distracting us. I think they genuinely believe that they're dealing with these serious issues because they themselves are distracted. They're like time bombs set on the field that are effectively placed out there to be distractions, decoys. This SJW community, which is also throwing a wrench in the very concept of justice itself, especially social justice. It's making us look down on the very idea of it, which is speaking back to our language, which reflects in our language, reflects in our understanding, and in fact inflects back upon us. The feedback that we're going to get from that is justice itself bombing. So, I mean, we need to be looking out for these things. You guys got to see the reality of what's happening. These are sabotage factors in play. Is sabotaging our very concept of social justice itself. Real social justice warriors are the people out here making fun of social justice warriors, trying to bring us back to a state of equality, wherein we're not fighting for any certain sort of person to have special rights over another. Like, we made it pretty close to having equality, and then we had this fucking explosion of the social justice network. That's what happened. That's the system striking back, trying to fight, to defend itself, because the system is based in imbalance, inequality. Anyways, also spoke to, addiction is that addiction is a problem here. Addiction to profit, addiction to progress. All addiction is based in the concept of making progress, making headway, wherein you're set back by the addiction, you're handicapped, and so you make progress when you get fixed, when you get back. It's like you think you're fixing something because you've created a problem to fix. And this is something that we do every day. Every fucking single person living does this. Creates problems in their lives to be fixed for the sake of making progress. Everybody is an addict to this. Everybody is an addict, period, to some extent or another. It's really that's the habitual drive of humanity. It's where we live. It's our home. Addiction. That's what we do. We serve addictions. We adapt. We make decisions. Those are really the three things that we do in this game. So what addictions we're serving, where we put the focus of our efforts and what sort of progress we actually are making to what ends, that's what we want to be looking at. We can't stop doing that, but we can redirect the energies that are driving it. And the thing is, when I mention this as an addiction, where it comes to the addiction to greed, addiction to profits, addiction to money, currency, what have you, where it comes to this overall addiction to progress, and especially as regards the male psyche and the idea that males are running the show, this is an addiction. Like I was saying in the other video, we can certainly understand you feeling the need to serve this addiction and feeling as though it's something that you need to be doing, that you can't get out of it. But the fact of the matter is that, obviously you can get out of it. Any habit can be broken, any addiction can be overcome. B, this is an addiction that is affecting the lives of everyone. This is not like some junkie who steals some money from their parents or steals from, a loved one and causes damages within that family. This is causing damages within the overall human family by stealing money out of every fucking body's purses. So that's a problem, obviously. And where Greta Thunberg says we will be watching, that, who do you think she's talking about? What does that mean? I'm thinking that a lot of people probably think that when she said that, she was talking about children. She was talking about the younger generations will be watching you, because she thereafter mentioned that, well, you come to us young people for help or for hope. But no, she very most certainly meant the initiative. She meant our people. And whether she knows she meant it or not, that's what she said. That's the value that's coming through. We will be watching you. And in fact, yes, we are. And we will be watching you. Fucking thieves out there who are serving that addiction, we got our eyes on you. And we're coming to get you. We're going to put this fucking thing down. We're going to end your fucking system. Watch it happen. I mean, I don't even have to be half as passionate as I do get about it. It's already happening. It's going to get done. We've already won. It's over. You might as well just go with the flow. You'll feel a lot better having done that. You'll feel a lot better having taken control of your life rather than fighting against the currents that are going to sweep you the fuck away. You guys, your time is over. And that's speaking from here, from the heart, directly to your heart, to everyone who's watching. You got a little bit of that in you. We all do. I'm speaking to that addiction. I'm speaking to that habit. I'm speaking to that problem, to that illness. I'm speaking to that cognitive dissonance factor. You're going down. It's already over. Now, as I was saying, I think that a lot of people figured that she was talking about kids. She was talking about younger generations. And I think that's a big part of why people are fighting back. I mean, they continuously say she's too young. She doesn't have enough life experience. Well, what do you think that means? Why do you think they're saying that? Because she doesn't like the idea that they're empowering kids. They're the older people who have their hands on the wheel. They're the ones who are running the show. Their fingers are in every fucking buddy's pies. They don't want to let go of that, and they don't want to have the children feeling empowered, understanding how empowered they actually are, stepping up and taking that power, owning their responsibility. They don't want the younger generations to feel that way, and there's various reasons why. Not just because they're hooked on it, because they don't want to let it go, but because the younger generations are obviously displaying themselves as ridiculously inept, where it comes to these uprising of the social justice monsters and shit like that. It's just, people are so distracted, so out of control that why would you want to give up control to these younger generations who can't even figure out how to hold, regard themselves, let alone how to regard the world at large. And they don't, just generally speaking, they don't like the idea of empowering kids because it reflects poorly upon them to some degree, especially considering that the kids are looking up at the adults saying, what the fuck have you done to our world? What the fuck is wrong with you? And what the fuck is wrong with you? You don't want to admit it. We don't want to admit that. We don't want to take responsibility for our actions, for the way that we've behaved. And of course, again, it's understandable. But the thing is that we want to remove any disavow or discredit any source that's suggesting that we do empower children, that we give the power back to the people where it belongs, and that's our future. That's what we talk about. That's what we're raised in school, told about. The kids are our future. We need to empower them. Yet when it comes to the point that we are empowering them, we shut that shit down out of fear, out of jealousy, out of spite and greed. It's almost unbelievable, except it's to be expected, obviously. And then, where they speak to life experience, they say that she doesn't have life experience. Well, as I stated, I've had students who have had far more life experience, far more understanding. I myself, as odd as this is to say, it doesn't fit, and I take me forever and ever to explain what I mean by this, but I had more life experience at her age than I do now. In a manner, it's very difficult for me to try and explain that, but yeah, I went through a lot. Some of us go through a lot, and she's one of those people who went through a lot. She had a somewhat rough time of it, and she made do, and she got to where she is, and she fought to get to where she is. And I don't know how deep her life experience goes, but I know that for some of the kids out there, especially the ones I've worked with, that life experience does go pretty fucking deep, a hell of a lot deeper than most adults would even consider realizing. And the thing of it is that when these people speak to life experience, they're not talking about the sort of life experience that gives one wisdom and understanding of life. They're not talking about life experience that teaches and that entrains. They're talking about the sort of life experience that, what they're referring to insofar as regards their concept of life experience is that what jades. That the life experience they've had that makes them look at the world and think it's not worth fighting for, or the sort of life experience that makes them understanding of the fact that, you gotta make money and take from people and be a thief and be a greedy coward. That's the sort of life experience they're talking about. The life experience that teaches one to be a careless, reckless asshole. The sort of life experience that jades the mentality and that makes you feel like altruistic purposes aren't worth fighting for. We're never going to save the world. It's not worth even trying. Let's just make as much money as we can while we're here so we can take advantage of what little time we have. Well, no. Sorry, asshole. No, we can and we are going to salvage and restore our home. And, what you want to do with all the money you've hoarded and the little time that you do, in fact, have left, you're free to go about your business so long as you don't get in our way. Fine, but other than that, fuck off. No, we're not going to yield to your sense of life experience and go ahead and make the discernment in and of ourselves that somehow money and greed and this idea of sticking to our guns with these addictions that we have, our religious considerations, our determinations insofar as regards these distractions that are put in play, that all of this is somehow more important than actually owning our life, owning our responsibility, and taking charge, making headway, making real progress. No, we have places to go. Humanity's going somewhere. This time we're going to make it. We're not giving up because you'd like for us to, because whoever it is that's talking, you're probably twice my age and don't have much time left. Too bad for you. Sorry, but the rest of us, we got plans and we're going to make them happen. So that's what they're speaking to when they say life experience. Now, I should like to also note that what came to mind was the Mandela effect thing, where I really do recall having seen, and I've actually spoken to a few other people now, I've hooked up through other channels that talk about the Mandela effect, that there are people out there who also remember Greta Thunberg having popped onto the scene much earlier than our records show, than we currently know of. And to me, I don't know what that means one way or another, why she would pop up later than she originally had, if that were the case, if something did change somehow, as I've stated, we know that there's a reality to the Mandela effect. Things are changing. Things are being altered. That's happening. It's absolutely certain. So, I mean, it's not some trick of the mind or some illusion. It's not, half of the population somehow misremembering things in precisely the same way. No, there's a very sincere reality to that. Something very odd is happening there. We have theories as to what may be happening, but personally, my understanding of having recalled Thunberg showing up earlier is simply to the effect of the people who say, like, Greta Thunberg's like a messiah, or people who say Greta Thunberg not the messiah, whatever the case is, that messiah value comes into play, this idea that she's some kind of a savior, some kind of a leader. And in a manner of speaking, she is. Obviously, she's a very heavy duty asset. She's a purpler. She's up on stage addressing the UN. She's getting this shit in people's minds. She's really making headway. She's an operative of the initiative who's really doing serious damage. So she is to be considered a leader of sorts, but not necessarily a savior or a messiah. But that comes to mind, that idea that, in a manner of speaking, she was kind of prophesied. Because, I mean, there are some of us out here who recall her from before, who just kind of forgot about her because she never became anything huge in our memory until recently. But we do remember her having shown up earlier, so that puts into my mind the consideration that in some ways she was foreseen. Her arrival was foreseen. It's somehow plotted. There's something important about that. Obviously, it's important in and of itself, but something plotted about that. So, anyways, as regards the plotted obsolescence issue, Megan was absolutely right about that too. There is actually federal laws in place that have limitations on the efficiency of products. It began with light bulbs way back when. There's actually a limit to the efficiency that we can have on any given product, and the companies, the corporations, the factories, whomever is constructing it, the manufacturers of that particular item are fined heavily depending on how far above that efficiency bar they go. So if you make a light bulb that lasts for years and years instead of a few months or so, you're going to get fined for every unit you put out. So that is in fact the case. They will not allow for you to make products that are too efficient, because they're fucking greedy. I mean, you guys can't get your heads out of your asses and realize that more efficiency equals better production, equals better advantage, equals better advancement, equals progressing. Like, you want to make real progress, you got to stop putting fucking weights on our hands and telling us that we can't. We're people out there, geniuses who can invent fucking sources of infinite energy, aren't allowed to do it. They'll get murdered for that shit because of money. Like, you don't understand that advancement is better than money. Advancing our technology, advancing our race, saving our asses, it's a little more important than your money. Your money can be drastically altered. Everything that you consider to be valuable needs to be altered. We need to take something else into consideration, and this is, I mean, we are at the end of this cycle here. This is the same cycle that humanity's gone through over and over again, and we failed repeatedly, and we're doing it again. We're moving towards that. This time, the initiatives here, we're making a huge difference. Things are beginning to go the right way, and they will. We're going to succeed, but for those still holding on, I mean, it's as simple as understanding your own religious factors, bringing into play, like where it comes to God. I've always stated that I think God is something that we're creating as a race, that the concept we have of God is not necessarily born yet or in play. It's something that we're birthing together as a collective entity, and that we will eventually become God. Well, the elder traditions had presented the understanding that we're sharing here via soul mechanics, quantum mechanics, and general scientific endeavors are beginning to realize that what the elder traditions presented are true. That's the understanding we had before is coming back to the understanding that we have now, and they're syncing up. That's the alpha and the omega. That's the end of this cycle. We are on the verge of creating that God concept, of actually putting it into play. And again, the initiative is a big fucking part of making that happen. Anybody that's involved, anybody that's watching, Snap 2, help. Share this video, press the like button. Oh, also, by the way, if anybody's watching this just to see the final verdict, and you did not, in fact, watch the previous 3 videos that we did, the opening statements, the critical examinations, and the closing arguments videos, Megan actually was actually wearing the suit jacket that I had bought for her, and she looked lovely. She had like makeup on and shit. She was very spectacularly beautiful, and then again wearing the beautiful suit jacket that I bought for her. And those videos were very well done. I feel very accomplished in them. So if you have not seen them and pressed the like button on all 3 of them, I'm gonna need for you to go ahead and do that now. And pause this, go watch those, and then hit the like button on each of them, and we'll still be here when you get back because you're going to have paused it. So go ahead and do that. Thank you. Anyways, to finish off, I wanted to say that where it comes to climate change, where it comes to development as regards our natural environment or technology or anything, whatever developments are occurring, people can jump on the internet and they can cite any source that will feed into their confirmation bias. So if you want to prove, to validate some idea one way or the other, you can find the information on the internet. I mean, this is largely why we aren't bothering to do research on these things and do our homework, as it were. We're reacting purely to the videos we see. We're reacting purely to the considerations that come into play directly, and it's our library of knowledge. It's what Megan and I have learned, what our understanding is, reflecting upon that, and we're not jumping on the internet and trolling through things, to find any evidences or suggestions, any research one way or the other, because I mean, you can go ahead and confirm it one way or the other. There's always going to be a source that's backing one side or the other. Both sides, doesn't matter. So there's no point really in even doing that. But that is in fact something that needs to be taken into consideration, just generally confirmation bias overall. Because if you jump on the internet and you jump on there trying to prove that climate change and that environmental issues are not a threat in any way, that's not happening, you're going to find people who will go ahead and do that for you. If you want to prove that it is, you're going to find that right away. But I mean, either way, if you dig deep enough into it though, and you actually get to the rock solid conclusory research on it, the studies on it that are actually done by as James Wood, was that his name? Woodford guy said, the overwhelming number of our scientists, like the vast majority of our scientists, will in fact go ahead and conclude that this is happening. We've known this has been happening for a long, long while. We've been watching it. We've had eyes on the ball for a long while now. It is a very harsh and inconvenient truth, I suppose you could say, as Al Gore might say, but that it is happening. So, I mean, you can make your decision one way or another, but the ultimate bottom line on it and the final verdict on the entire issue is, if you can do something to help make things better, who cares how bad they are? Why not just go ahead and do that, right? So anyway, that's going to be it for the entirety of the series. We're very happy you guys tuned in. Thank you all for watching. Again, there's a like button you're going to want to press down here somewhere, and then you can share this video to as many people as is possible. That would be great. Thanks a lot. We will see you in the next one. Come Halloween time, I believe we're doing a special one for Halloween. We'll see you then. Kila Salai, Terve Uni Siari, Namaste. Master Skunkhead and itty bitty bunches. Is that bunches? That's bunches. And Hobo the dog cat.